Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Storm, and this week we are going to begin a new project called Alien Attack. And this project is going to be a little bit more advanced than the last one. In the last project, we had one input field, we had one button, and when you click the button, it would take the value of that input field, compare it against a hidden number that our computer would generate, and then we would begin again. Um, if with this one we want to add a couple new input fields, we want to add some graphics to this game, and we want to add some more logic. So it's actually not much more advanced than what we've already built, but just slightly, right? We're just adding new features. So in light of that, I'm actually not going to type out everything that you're going to create. I'm going to show you what mine looks like, and I will go slowly enough through the code to where I can explain everything so that we can understand what we're looking at. Um, but for right now, I'm going to show you what the game looks like and how it works, and then we'll dig into the code. So this game is an alien attack game. We have our alien up here at the top. We have our missile down here, and this green line represents the Earth, right? And all these graphics I'm giving to you, so you'll have these available for whenever you want to make your game. All right, and then it says enter the X and Y position from 0 to 300, and then click fire. So basically, this is set up to be a 300 by 300 gameplay field. So I need to pick the X, which is the horizontal position, and the Y, which is the vertical position, to figure out where my alien is, right? And I actually have a pretty good idea. It's about 100, maybe 97 by 20. So let's do 97 by 20 and see if that works. I'm going to hit fire, and boom, I killed the alien, I saved the Earth, and it only took me one shot, right? Let's refresh and let's play this game again. So let's say I don't know that it's one. Let's say it's 200 by 50, right? And I hit fire. Well, my missile actually missed, and the alien moved to a different spot. So now I need to figure out maybe 250 by 50. Let's fire there. No, now it's moving. And it's telling me how many shots I have left, how many shots I've used. All right, so that's about 50, and let's say 100. See what Hey, and I hit it, and I saved the Earth. Perfect. So that's kind of how our game works. So let's actually look at the code and see what happens there. All right, so I'm going to skip past the CSS really quick and actually talk about the HTML. The HTML of my page. So I have my body element here. And the HTML is structured pretty easily. First of all, this section right here is one big div called stage. And the stage is going to be where we put all of our graphics for our game. Later on, when we get into working with canvases, you'll become familiar with the stage concept. It's a pretty good concept. Or it's pretty easy to understand once we get into canvases. But basically, we're just creating an empty div, and we're going to call it stage. We're going to give the ID of stage. And inside of that div, we're going to add our background, cannon, missile, and alien. And again, these are just empty divs, right? This is an empty div, but we're giving it these IDs, right? And then down here, we're going to do some familiar stuff, some stuff that we did in the last game, where we create a paragraph element, we give it the ID of output, we tell our user what we want them to do, and then we have our input ID called input X with some placeholder text to tell you what to type, and we have an input Y with some placeholder text to tell you what to type, and then we have our button down here. So that's all the HTML for our page. But let's take a look at the CSS to figure out how to actually render some graphics onto our game. So if we go up here to the top, in our head section where we have our style section and we're doing some internal CSS here. Now, you can section all this out. You could have a style.css page with all this stuff on it, and a JavaScript page with all the JavaScript on it. If you want to do it that way, that's perfectly fine. I'm actually just going to do it in one big long document just because that's, I don't know, kind of how I like to do these smaller projects. So let's take a look at what I've done. Here, I've actually taken this stage ID right here, the stage ID, and I've indicated that it has a width of 300 because my picture has 300 pixels is 300 pixels wide, and it's a height of 300 because my picture's 300 pixels wide, and I've given it a position. That's the stage. That's the playable area of the game. And then I have my background, which is the exact same height and width as the stage, and same position, or uh, so relative is going to be positional within the overall, uh, means it's going to be relative to its overall container, which is the window of, the browser window. Background is going to be an absolute position. And it's the exact same size as our stage. It is 0 pixels from the top and 0 pixels from the left, meaning it's going to start exactly up in the top left-hand corner. And the background image is going to be this, URL images background.png. Now the way that's set up is here I have my alien attack folder, and I have my alien attack.html project file, and I have an images folder here with my images inside of it, right? And so that's how we're getting access to those pictures. The same thing with my Canon. My Canon is 20 pixels by 20 pixels. Its position is absolute. I'm going to set it about 270 from the top and about 140 from the left, and I'm going to give it its background image. And with the alien, we're doing the same, 20 pixels by 20 pixels, 20 pixels from the top, 80 pixels from the left with its background image. And then the missile is the last one, 10, 10, 240 pixels from the top, 145 pixels from the left. And we're giving it a background image. Now with the HTML and CSS, once you're done with those, you'll be able to actually run your game, or you'll actually be able to open up your game and you'll see something that looks pretty much like this, right? You'll see your background image will render, your alien image will render, your Canon image, and your missile image will render. You'll have all of this stuff ready to go, and you will be able to begin programming this game. So that's plenty enough to do for this first week on this project. I don't want to overwhelm you with too much. Just make sure you're getting everything in there correct. Make sure whenever you run the game, it actually runs the way it's supposed to. Meaning there's nothing happening yet, but make sure everything looks the way it's supposed to look. And then next week we'll get into actually programming this stuff with our script, with our JavaScript. But get all of this stuff working. Copy it down however you need to, write it up. Do what you got to do. I'm going to scroll through this very slowly for a couple seconds just so you can actually take a look at what I'm doing and you can read it. So, I'm just going to go ahead and scroll through it. So we're still in the CSS section. We have our background, we have our Canon, we have our alien here, we have missile here. That's the code for the missile. And then we're ending our style section, and we're ending our head, and we're beginning the body of our program. And here we have our HTML that will display all of our stuff on the screen. Okay, so write all this stuff up. Again, make sure you understand what you're actually writing. Make sure you understand what you're typing up. Not every project is going to be like this. I'm not going to be hand feeding you this stuff every single project. So at this point, I'm going to cut it here, and I'm going to let you get to work. And then next week we will finish this project by writing all of the JavaScript for this game. All right, that's it for me. Thank you for paying attention, and I'll see you next time.